Huh? You wanna get in the boat? Well, can I finish this before we get in the boat? That's a mess, right? I know what you're already probably saying. You're saying that I need to get like one of those reels that you put your extension cords on. No. The problem is I get in a hurry and I don't put my stuff back up like I'm supposed to. Now, don't you go buy a reel either. My Uncle Charles showed me a way to wrap my extension cords and make it really easy to put up. What, Brooks? Oh my gosh. Anyway, Uncle Charles showed me something. I'm gonna show you how my Uncle Charles. I love my Uncle Charles, y'all. I'm gonna show you how to do it. All right, so this is how my Uncle Charles taught me how to wrap a extension cord. It's called daisy chaining. Don't knock it over, please. It's called daisy chaining. Some of you people in the military already know what it is. That's where it comes from. Well, I did a video about this on Facebook one time and people told me how you shouldn't daisy chain and how it ruins your cords and a whole bunch of negative stuff. Look, if you don't want to daisy chain, don't daisy chain. So basically what you do is you take both extension cord ends like this right here. Brooks, don't shake it. Brooks, don't touch it. You take both extension cord ends like this. You're basically going to double it, almost like you would Palomar knot. And you go back out, all the way back to the end. So you get to, I still got a loop in here. Huh? Yeah. This is what we're going to do. You make a loop with your line like that. Every time you're just going to stick your hand through that loop and pull the excess back out. And you make a daisy chain. See, I'm just sticking my hand through, pulling it out. Sticking my hand through, pulling it out. Sticking my hand through, pulling it out. All the way till I finish wrapping my cord. And what this is going to do is you'll see when I'm finished with it, basically anytime I go to get my cord, all I have to do is pull out what I need and it just pulls out without tangling up and all of that. Now, when I did this video on Facebook, people told me like how daisy chaining ruins an extension cord and how Democrats and Republicans, and it got into a weird conversation. Well, look, if you want daisy chaining, you want to make your life easy, daisy chaining. I've never seen it ruin anything since I was a kid. Then when you get to the end, look, when you get to the end, you see you got both your ends right here. And if you need, you just pull out how much you need. Watch how easy this pulls out. Bloop, bloop. It just pulls out like that. And it never gets all tangled up in backlash. That, my friend, is called daisy chaining. You military people, you already know about this. Some of you do, some of you don't. Works really good. I've never had a problem with it. It just makes life easier. And then I throw my whole extension cord in the back of the truck like this. What I'll do is take my end, put it together, and that never gets tangled up or nothing. What I like to do is just fold it up like this. You see it, point it down to the ground, bro. I'll just fold it up like this, do it maybe twice, put it in the back of the truck, and it's way better than having like a big reel or anything. I just do it like that. That's called daisy chaining. All right, let's see. We're gonna charge our, no, you can stay right there. Need to charge our batteries. You know what? You guys have been asking me a lot about my battery setup in my Crestliner here. Let me get it all hooked up and I'll show you. So on my little 189 here, this is the battery setup. I actually got a MillerTech in the back of it. Let's see. Get on this side. Here's my battery setup. I actually just have one trolling motor battery. So you're probably wondering, how do you have just one trolling motor battery? This is 124 volt. Okay, a 24 volt 60 amp hour that I use to run my trolling motor battery with. But it opens up so much space in here in the back of my aluminum boat. Now I always had power poles and power pole pumps even when I was running lead acid batteries in here, but now that I got the 124 volt MillerTech, it just makes it a lot more spacious in the back, and it lightened the boat up a lot. So I got one cranking battery and I got the one MillerTech. Cool thing about the MillerTech, 24 volt. You see this little LCD screen right here? You can push it and it'll tell you what percentage you are on your battery capacity. But I got that, and you can see like where my pumps are mounted at the back there at the back. But you have plenty of room back here to mount dual pumps, even if you run 24 volt. All I did is I stuck another battery. Let's see. Before, when I had lead acids, I just had one battery this way, and I had one battery going vertically that way. One horizontal, one vertically, and then all my pumps are tucked back here in the back. So if you want your engines to last a long time, you got to take care of them, right? So today, what we're going to do is actually going to change the oil in both engines today. Super easy on these the new Pro XS's. If you got a 2-stroke, it's really not a lot you can do. There is some other stuff that we can do. What, baby? We'll get in the boat in a minute. There's really not a lot that you can that you have to do on these engines. Basically, change the oil every 100 hours, which I'm approaching 100 hours on this year's boat. I don't know why I keep clapping, but it seems appropriate for every video that I do. When you say something important, to clap after you say it. That means it's really important. So during this video, if you hear this, that means whatever I just said is super legit. But it's real easy to change the oil in these engines. I got just a hose pipe that you're going to see we're going to use to actually leak the used engine oil out into, and then you just need the oil filter in your oil. That's literally it. So what else? I don't know. You need a couple, like 1 wrench and a funnel. Pro XS is super easy. All you got to do is just got one lever to take the whole engine cover off. That thing's pretty light, believe it or not. So we'll take that off, and I think it is a 9/16 wrench that we gotta use to drain all the engine oil out. On the back of your engine, you'll see all the specifications here of your maintenance schedule. 100 hours, you're going to change the oil, gear case, lubricant, check your anodes, check your thermostat, check your spark plugs, and check your low pressure fuel filter. All your engine oil leaks out right here. Can you see that little bolt right there? I think that's a 9/16 bolt. We'll figure out what size it is. But all I got to do is loosen this up. Watch out, Brad. And then I'm going to hook my hose pipe to it. Any kind of pipe you got to work. I can't remember what size it is. As long as it's big enough, it's fine, because you can just hold it here with your hand, and you're going to leak your engine oil out into your oil pan here. All right, here we go. I think this was a 5/8 inch bolt. I'm just going to loosen this up, okay? And all your excess oil is just going to leak down from this hole. All your excess oil is going to come from your engine block. Is going to leak right out of this drain plug right here at the bottom of the midsection. Just give that a second to kind of drop down. Super important. If y'all like me, you grew up on the old 2-strokes. All of my outboards prior to having this Pro XS were well, actually I had like 5 or 6 Optimax, but I had the old 2.5. I had a 2.5 200. Actually, I had two 2.5 200s. I had a 2.4 Bridgeport. Yeah, a 2.4 Bridgeport, all 2-stroke engines, and the maintenance is like totally different on those. You don't change the oil or anything like that. There's really not a whole lot you can do on a 2-stroke engine until it blows. There's not really a lot you can do to the rings and so forth. But you know, the longevity wasn't there on 2-stroke engines like it is on the 4-stroke engines. You know, back in the day, you just waited for your engine to blow up. It wasn't a matter of if it was going to blow up, it was when it was going to blow up. That's a lot tighter than I thought it was. Then you can kind of start doing it by hand once you loosen it up. I always like to look in there and see what's going on. That one's pretty clean. You don't want to cross thread this guy, so make sure you get it right. If it don't feel right, it ain't right. Your daddy never tell you that when you're screwing something on. If it don't feel right, it ain't right. For me, I always just hand tighten that guy on there. Don't try to get it too, you don't have to be the Hulk to get it on. What oil type they want you to run. 10W30 or 2540 is what you can run. And it also tells you the oil volume, about 7 quarts. There's only a couple things you can do wrong. Don't overheat one. Try not to put bad gas. Everybody always talks about the gas thing. But like, I don't think anybody intentionally gets bad gas. And how do you know you got bad gas until you got bad gas? And then it's too late to worry about if you got bad gas by the time you know you got bad gas. So, yeah, just don't do stupid stuff. Don't over rev. Don't run them hot. Put gas in them. Next thing we're gonna do is change our gear case fluid now. Now we'll go ahead and change this. Now, if you got a Mercury Pro XS and you want to change your gear case fluid, your drain plug is actually behind your prop, which is actually good because that gives you a chance to check for line and stuff that's not supposed to be behind your prop. There's seals. There's a seal to keep water out, and there's a seal back behind that one to keep the oil in, the gear case fluid in the lower unit. And what that fishing line does is it wraps around and it eats the little rubber seals away. I don't know if you can see, there is a bolt right there. Then there's a bolt right here. So what you want to do is, if you got 2 drain plugs down here, you're going to take the one on the bottom. You're going to drain your gear case fluid out through the one on the bottom. Up under there, I just took the drain plug out. And you see there's nothing coming out. Well, that's because we have to take out the second one right there. We got to take out that one too. I don't have an extra hand to point to it, but we got to take out that bolt so you can get air so that all the fluid will drain out. Once I loosen the top bolt, you'll notice and you'll start to see some oil start to drain out. You want to try to get some negative trim if you can. You can buy these little guys at your auto parts store. This is just a quart size fluid pump. I'll just pump it and it'll pump all the fluid in there. So on my first boat, the old 2.5 200 I used to have back when I first started fishing, you had a little drain plug on the bottom of your like on the bottom of the lower unit, and you pretty much put it in through the bottom, but they changed it. Honestly, this is better because if you hit something, you don't have to worry about, like, you know, if you hit something like dragging the bottom or something, you don't have to worry about the pulling the drain plug out or causing any problems that way. This is definitely better behind the prop. It keeps it out of the debris and away from damage and stuff. Just makes me think like that first 200 that I had back in the day. I can remember the first tournament that I got to fish with that thing. My dad. So I just graduated from high school. Pops told me, you know, that I could buy the boat from him. I had to get the loan, but he kind of let me fish the tournament before we actually got the loan approved. It's like, you know, just take it out. We'll go get the loan done Monday morning, but you can go ahead and go fish this tournament this weekend. It's the first tournament I got to fish out of the boat. Boy, I was juiced. I was jacked up about this. Like, I was already thinking about how fast I was going to go and how high I was going to trim this thing out. And it was a 19-foot winner, by the way. That was my first boat. A 19-foot, it was called a Tournament 2000. It was 19 and a half foot long, something like that. Great boat. They actually were kind of fast. They weren't slow at all. So that was my first boat. It was at Clark's Hill. And this was like in the early 2000s when we were going through drought, like 2001, 2002, something like that. So we had drought here in South Carolina, so all the lakes were like extremely low. When I say low, I'm talking about stupid low. Like Clark's Hill was down 19 foot, 16 foot, I don't know, something teen foot is what it was down, something teen. And so Pops was like, you know, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Just go out there, find you some fish. Whatever you do, don't go up the river. Don't take a right out of Hickory Knob. That's the way he told me. You know what I'm going to do. You told me not to take a right out of Hickory Knob. I went right out of Hickory Knob. First thing I do is decide to go up the river. You guys don't know, it is pretty, at least back then it was way more treacherous than it is now. That's how you can tell it's full. It's starting to bubble a little bit. Up above Hickory Knob was where you would go to tear your stuff up. So that's where I ended up fishing in that event, and pretty much from there up till now is up Hickory Knob, mainly because my pops told me in that boat that I got when I first started fishing. He told me not to go up there. And that was the very first place I went. Definitely say this, it's been cool kind of watching the progression of these engines over the years. You know, we went from the old 2-strokes, 2.5, where we were mixing the gas and the oil. Anybody out there still got an engine where you mix the gas and the oil? Then we moved to oil injection. And then we moved into like the Optimax era. Now we're to this Pro XS era. And like the maintenance on them have all been kind of completely different. Here's the thing about the 4-strokes. There's really not a whole lot that we can do to them. Computer pretty much manages just about everything internally that we can do for our engines. There's a few other little things that I like to do on my engine. You hear that screeching? You hear that? I'll do it again so you hear it. You hear that? That's coming from right here. All I gotta do is on these little ball points right here, I gotta put a little bit of grease on those guys because that's what's making that noise. Just a little bit of marine grease here. I'll put marine grease on my steering column. You see there's a fitting there. Keeping my bolts tight on the transom is really important. You get a lot of vibration back here, especially if you're running rough water. Make sure your power poles are good and tight. You got those. They'll get some rattle, a lot of play in them because they just got a lot of surface area here to leverage over them. And all this stuff will waller out. So I have started another project in my yard. Can you believe that? This is it. Huh? Basically what I needed somewhere to keep the tractor, keep the lawnmowers, so the boys could put some of their stuff out here too and it not get wet. I'm actually not planning on closing this in, but you can see the guys, they've been working really hard. They got all the rafters done. Next, all we really got to do is put the shingles up and this project will be finished. But me and the boys, we're going to clean the yard up a little bit today. I gotta just keep it right in the way of that. Throw these little small pieces in the wheelbarrow or in the truck. Yep, throw that in there. Put it in the wheelbarrow. Bruce, get some wood. These? Yes, throw it in the wheelbarrow.